Hello guys, how are you all doing? Welcome back to the channel. So today I had nothing new recorded and I haven't had time to record nothing, so I'm just going to do this on the fly. So we're just going to have a little ramble, a little chat, a little bit of banter, see what's happening within the gaming industry on a whole, conversations that have been had, ideas that should have never seen the light of day, and essentially what's killing video games. So there was talk a couple of months back that the bigwigs at video game companies think we should be paying more for our video games. They essentially want a pay per hour. So the longer a video game is, the more entertainment you get out of a video game, the more enjoyment you get out of it, the longer you're playing it, the more they think you should pay for it. They essentially want a pay per hour for video games. Now, I think all this is going to do is turn people back to pirating games. Don't agree with it, but I think that's the only way that's going to go if they start doing all that nonsense. I mean, video games are quite pricey as it is, but it's not just the video games. You know what I mean? Whether you're Xbox, PlayStation, PC, you've already forked out a big wedge for your console or your PC, and then you've got to then, every time a game comes out that you want to play, if you want to get it day one, then you've got to fork out full price, which is usually 60, 70, between 60 and 75 quid in it. So I think pay per hour is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever heard for video games, and it's nothing but pure greed. There was also a little bit of conversation on just restructuring the pricing of video games. So instead of pay per hour, it'd be just more expensive for the games. So I'll use examples, but I only use examples of games I know and I've played. So for example, Assassin's Creed Mirage, with it being such a short game, would probably stick at the price it came out at, between £45 and £50. But then as the games get longer and as you're getting more game time out of it and enjoyment out of it, the prices is going to go up. So then you'll look at the next one up would be something along the lines of Spider-Man 2, Miles Morales, any one of them, and you're going to be still probably paying what we're paying now for AAA, so between £60 and £75. But then the longer games, for example, the 3 RPG games from Assassin's Creed, Origins, Odyssey, Valhalla, you'd be paying more for them, more for Odyssey than the others as well, because Odyssey's a game where to fully complete it you can put easily 1,000 hours in it. Granted, at least 20 hours of them are going to be where you've just paused it or just left your pad on your setup and just gone and had your tea or something, so it's going to be minus a couple hundred hours for doing that. But you get where I'm coming from. The longer games they want to charge you more for, so games sort of the length of Valhalla, Odyssey, any of the games that are around that length where you can easily bang between 500 and 1,000 hours into it just to get 100% completion, are going to end up costing you over £100. And like I said, the only way I can see that going is like we used to do back in the day when the PlayStation 1 come out, or even before that, when everyone just had PCs, and it's just get copy games, get pirated games. Everyone, when I grew up, everyone who knew a mate who had a chipped PS1 and could play pirated copy games on it, and they were paying like, even back then they were paying like a tenner for the copied game, and 90% of the time they were good copies, you know what I mean? But that's the only way I can see this going. If the owners of the game development companies want to be greedy and go down that line, then people just aren't going to pay it, and people are going to resort to pirating, which, like I said, I don't agree with, but I can just see that happening if they start messing around with the prices of video games. I think they're already pricey enough as it is. Do you know what I mean? I think some games are overpriced, but for most of the AAA games where you can put a good couple of 100 hours into it, then yeah, 70 quid is there or thereabouts, right? But even games that like 30, 40, 50 hour campaigns on, do you know what I mean? I'd say that was still okay. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't know, it's not like you're buying a game every week or every month, is it? Do you know what I mean? You're buying a brand new game 3 or 4 times a year. Unless you're me, and then you just buy every new game and don't end up playing most of them. Yeah, but you don't buy brand new games that often. Do you know what I mean? It's only because not everyone likes every game. So for me, it's like Assassin's Creed, the GTAs, RDR, Star Wars games. Do you know what I mean? I'll buy all them day one, hands down, without a doubt. Do you know what I mean? But I don't buy every game, so I think the pricing as it is perfect. Or, well, it probably could be a little bit lower, but that's not business then, is it? It's charity. Yeah, so that was the conversation that was apparently going around a couple of months back from Strauss Zelnick on the GTA team. So, I don't know. I think nowadays games companies don't just earn enough money from selling the game. Pretty much every game now has some form of microtransactions. So I don't think that, a perfect AAA game is good price, at full price, £75, 70 to £75 even. So I don't think they should mess around with the price of games. We're already paying enough. They already earn enough money from the video game itself. All the sales, and then there's the microtransactions on top. So I don't think they should start messing with it. That paper hour thing, it was up in the air whether he did say it or he didn't say it. But I don't know. There was other conversations about, like I said, just restructuring the pricing for video games. So the top tier AAA games should be more expensive. No, they shouldn't. Most AAA games now have microtransactions. So even if every person only buys one microtransaction, that's a tenner. That's still a couple of million. Do you know what I mean? But I don't know. It's a conversation that should have never happened. It's an idea that should have never seen the light of day. And it's nothing but greed. They're not doing it so they can invest more money in upcoming games, because they do that anyway with the sales from the last game. It's just pure greed. And then the second thing I want to talk about is politicising video games. Now, no matter which way you're leaning, left, right, centre right, centre left, doesn't matter. What we don't need is video games, or anything really in entertainment media, video games, movies, TV shows. We don't want none of that politicised. But all the publishers just seem to think that because that's the way they think, that's the way we all should think, and we should all be okay with that, politicising everything we're doing. We get bombarded enough as it is with politics, no matter where you are in the world, no matter, like I say, no matter which way you're leaning politically, it makes no difference. We all get bombarded by politics day in, day out, whether it's at work, whether it's on the news, in general, it's everywhere. And people who enjoy entertainment media as a whole, whether that be games, movies, TV shows, no matter what it is, we use them to escape from. You use them as, it's escapism. You use them to escape from what's going on in the real world. You use them so you can play a video game for an hour and just forget about everything else that's going on in the world. So you can just whack a movie on or bang one of your box sets on, and just for however long you're watching it, just forget about everything else that's going on in the world. And that's one of my biggest beefs with the entertainment industry as a whole at the moment, is them politicising everything, whether it be for Black Lives Matter, whether it be for the rainbow clowns, or whether it be for the trans ideology. It makes no difference. Keep entertainment entertaining, as Disney have learned from all the blackwashing and the femme-washing they've done recently with some of their movies. Nobody wants to watch that shit. And if they start pushing it that hard in video games, nobody's going to want to play them. Sorry, I've got a terrible cough. A cup of tea fixes everything though. Yeah, so that's just been something that's been burning my head out. I'm going to try not to swear in this video as much as I can, but I can't promise nothing. That's just been something that's been burning my head out for... I mean, it's been going on for years, do you know what I mean, in the entertainment industry as a whole, but it's been getting pushed more recently in video games. I think video games were the last hope most of us had for just a bit of escapism, because it hasn't really, I mean, there has been little bits here and there pushed in, but I think it's just been getting pushed a lot more recently. Yeah, like I said, people who play video games, no matter how old you are, people who watch movies, people who love a good binging a box set, do you know what I mean? We don't watch them, so we can then have more politicised shit shoved in our faces. We get enough of that at work, on the news, just in general, in life. Entertainment has always been, and should always remain, unpolitical and an escape from all the nonsense and the crap that's going on in the real world, in your real life. Do you know what I mean? Plus, I really don't think video games should be pushing some of the ideologies that they are pushing, whether it be the rainbow clowns or the trans movement garbage, because video games, whilst older people do play video games, like me, I'm 41 this year, I'm still playing video games whenever I can. But whilst older gamers do exist, video games are aimed at younger kids. Video games are aimed at kids. They're sold in toy shops. The adverts for them are always on kids' movies. The adverts are always on them on the telly for them are always on kids' after school shows, kids' Saturday morning cartoons, just anything that kids will be watching, that's where they are. So I don't think they should be pushing those political ideologies, as they are aiming video games at children. And it's not on the devs or whoever's pushing the adverts out for video games to teach our kids what's right and what's wrong, what's acceptable and what's not acceptable in society. That's our job, and 99.9% of us do it really well. There's a small percentage that don't parent, they just be friends, do you know what I mean? And the kids turn out to be knobheads. video game companies and all other entertainment media sources aren't there. Yous aren't there to teach our kids what's right and what's wrong, what's acceptable and what's not acceptable, and what they should be thinking and what they shouldn't be thinking. That's our job. So no, this should not be getting pushed in video games, because like I said, video games are aimed directly at children. And to be pushing trans ideologies on children is bad enough as it is. They've got it everywhere. Do you know what I mean? To be pushing the LGBTQ everywhere, it shouldn't be happening. Not at kids. They're not at that age where they can decide what they are. Do you know what I mean? That's for something to be decided when they're older. Now, don't for a second get me wrong, I have nothing against a certain part of the LGBTQ community. My brother-in-law's gay. I've got no problem with it. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't affect my life. Do you know what I mean? But I draw the line when it comes to the trans bit, because I think if a child at that age is questioning science, then they need psychiatric help, not chemical castration, which is what's happening. But that's going off on a tangent. I just don't think any of these ideologies belong anywhere in entertainment media. Entertainment media of all forms has always been and should always remain an escape from whatever shit is going on in the world, whatever shit is going on in your life. Play a video game for an hour and just chill out, relax, and just forget about everything that's going on in life, everything that's going on in the world for that 1 hour. Same with a movie, however long the movie's for, just forget about everything. But no, they can't, because they think you should think the way they think. That was too many thinks in one sentence. And if you don't think the way they think, then you're a bigot, or a transphobe, or a homophobe, or any other kind of phobic. Do you know what I mean? I'm arachnophobic, that's about it, and coulrophobic. I don't like clowns or spiders. Yeah, but what's your thoughts on this? Do you think... I mean, I want to hear your thoughts on the video game pricing as well. But what's your thoughts on this? Do you think that all this... is it even part of the DEI thing? Yeah, it is, isn't it? Do you think DEI is literally going to destroy the video game industry, the movie? It's already destroying Disney. You know what I mean? They've already learned. You make shit movies, no one's going to want to watch them. You're pushing ideologies in movies, no one's going to want to watch them. And the same's going to apply for video games if they keep going the way they're going. But, I don't know, that's just my opinion. Most people would probably call me far right for having opinions just like that, but I don't really care. So, on that note, I think it's about time to end this video, because it's going to be about 20 minutes. So, let's start that conversation in the comments. What's your thoughts on them wanting to restructure the pricing of video games? Do you think the pristine AAAs should be more expensive, or do you think between £65 and £75 is there or thereabouts what you want to pay for a base game, even on pristine AAAs? And let me know what your thoughts are on all this politicising and everything, and all these ideologies getting shoved in video games. Not forgetting that video games are mainly aimed at children. So, the people who are making these video games, if you're of a certain age and you have children, think they know how to teach your kids right from wrong, acceptable and not acceptable in society better than you do. Let's have a discussion on what everyone feels about that. and let's see if we can get at least 100 likes on this video. And on that note, if you're not already subscribed, then do so. It doesn't cost you nothing, and you can take it back whenever you want. Drop us a like, share your comments most importantly. I've been CJ, this is CJ Games, and I'll catch you in a bit.